Hello everyone, I'm Hilary Chin. Thank you all so much for coming and watching my video. Today, I want to show you how to use Excel to create a Kobotoolbox survey. And today we are going to be doing part 2 of our part 1 video. If you have not watched the part 1, go at the top of my head there and watch that video and then come and continue watching this one. It allows you to go step by step and get a clearer understanding, okay? But of course, we are going to be continuing, or I am going to be continuing with the previous form. And there are things we are going to add, such as calculations, such as changing the dynamics of your multiple choice questions, and also showing you other columns that you can add in your survey sheet. Okay, just stay focused. Like I said, we are going to be taking this gradual until we finish building a whole full form with different kinds of elements in that form. Stay connected. Let's go in there.
Okay, so here is the part two of the video to create your XLM Forms survey in Kobotoolbox. Okay, so here we want to continue building this form. Remember that we had three sheets, one survey, one choices, and then one settings. Okay, so also remember that we have this platform to test the form and we have our Kobo toolbox. I'll just click start a new form here and then I go back here. Okay, so let's go and continue. So today we want to create integer. We want to add some questions. Remember that in Kobo toolbox you always see question types. You have text, you have integer, which represent numbers. So of course we want this form now to have, we want our respondents to be putting us number of boys. We want to ask number of boys and number of girls. And you must always remember that this name and type column, they are for codes. So what I'm doing here is that I'm inputting codes, okay? And then here now, this label is what will appear on our form. So I want to ask number of boys, okay? This is what I want to get from our respondents. I also want to get number of girls, okay? Number of girls, and then I have my question mark. Okay, so this is it. I want it to be true because I want it to be mandatory. Excuse me, please. I want it to be mandatory, and then yes, let's leave it like this and see how it looks. Let's save, and then we come to our system here, and then we select that form, which is XLMS, and then we submit, and then we see whether the form is good, and then now we preview. So when we preview, you will see the two questions that I just added. I just added boys. So if our respondent will be given boys, so they can say 9 plus 9. Okay. So if they get this form and open, they are going to put boys and put girls. So any number they put here, depending on the context of where they're filling this form from. But now I want us to do something. I want us to do a calculation here. I want us to be adding these two. I want that each time they put a number here and put another number here, these two numbers should be adding and then it should be appearing here. I want to be seeing it here. In Kobo Toolbox, we can do that calculation directly from the Kobo Toolbox form. But here we want to do it using our XLM form. Now, what we have to do is I'll come here and I put calculate. You see? And then I come here and I put calculation. Okay, then when I put this, what I'll do is I'll come to this next column, okay, and then I put calculation as well, you see, and then I'll come down here. I look for the cell that connects this calculation and this calculation here, okay, and then I start inputting my codes. So here it is very simple, guys. All I'll do here is simple. I'll say that equals to dollar sign, no, sorry, dollar sign, Okay, my curly bracket open. I want to be plussing these boys plus these girls because this column here is a code. These are codes that I've written. So I'll use the same code that I put here to put in here. So I'll put boys. The same spelling I have here for boys, I have to put it in here. And then I close this curly bracket and then shift plus another dollar sign and curly brackets open. Then these girls as well. And I close it. Okay. And I save this form. This is very, very important, guys. Please don't cram this process. Just understand that your integers here, once, let's say if you were putting maybe men or women, whatever spelling you put in here, those are the same spelling that you use here to do your calculation. Okay, let's save this form. Now I want this calculation to be appearing down here. So there's a data type called note. Note in Kobotoolbox is just to preview something, just to see something. Okay, so if I put my note here, I'll come here and put calculation. Okay, and then I'll make these two calculations. One has to be unique. I'll put S here. One just has to be unique. Okay, this is something you must take note. One has to be unique. Let me spell one well, and then I spell this other one well. Okay, I'll intentionally leave this one. I will not spell it well. I will put calculate. There's no L here, so we see how it reacts within the form. Okay, then now I'll come here to this line. Since I want it to be appearing here, I'll also say dollar sign curly brackets. Now dollar sign and curly bracket is very important for you to master because these are codes that you use regularly to readjust your form and build different complex things within your form. So now I'll take this calculate, okay, and I'll bring it in here, this calculation, and I'll close my curly bracket. Why? This calculation here, remember that it's a quote. So everything that is plus in here or whatever is happening here will be entering here. And when it enters here, I want to be seeing it here. That's a simple logic. Okay. And this other calculation is introducing this column to say that this column is for this purpose of calculation. Same as we have appearance, same as we had required here. Okay. And then I'm going to save this now. Remember that I've spelled calculation here wrongly. Okay, I want to see how this will react in this form, and then I'll just bring in my form again, and then I click open, and then I submit this form. Now then we see how this form will react. It's very, very important. Now you see it says that unknown question type, you see calculate. Okay, so there's a problem with this form, so we'll go back here and then we solve this problem by just correcting this L, this calculation, by putting L calculation, and then we save. And then when we save, we come back, bring that same form in, and then we click our XLM form, and then we submit. And while we submit, we wait, and then now we are previewing the form. This is very, very important practice. Now we are previewing the form to see how the form looks. It's very, very important. This is going to work depending on how your internet works. So I'll come here now, we'll put that same 9 under boys, we put another 9 under girls, and then you see that it sums up here and gives you 18. So it sums this plus this and gives you 18. Now, this is something I want you to take note. I'll go back here. Please don't cram the process. I'll come back here now, and then I'll bring a different calculation formula. Okay, now I'll come here, instead of putting plus, I'll put minus. Okay, and then I'll save. Minus means anytime I put boys, it should be minusing girls. Okay, this is just to show you another flexible way of designing this form. Now I'll go back and I click, and then I put inside because someone is asking what if I change the formulas, and then I preview now. Okay, remember that it is saying we have given a command that everything we put under boys should be minusing girls. Okay, so if I come here now and I put 10, and then I come and put 5 here, you see it gives me 5 because this 10 anything that is entering here is minusing what is entering here, okay? We can put times, multiplication, etc., okay? And the form will just react the same way that you have put the commands. So if we come back here, there's another thing we can put here that is very exciting, guys. We can put skip logic, okay? And skip logic here is so amazing. I can come to this form now and I come down here, and my skip logic is that I want to put select underscore 1, okay? And here I want to put W. This W stands for women, okay? But what I want to be asking here is pregnant. This is a quote. You can decide the quote you want to put here, and then this small W that I put here is also a quote, okay? All these are quotes. Remember that we have the data type is select one, and then the quote follows W. You can put anything there that you remember or anything that you want to use. And then I come here, I put pregnancy. Then I come here and I ask, are you pregnant? And I put my question mark, okay? And I want this to be mandatory, and I put. Now, this is the logic here. Now, when I say select one, W, I put my code W, and then I come to this name code column, and I say pregnant. Okay, this is what I want to prompt, pregnant. I can put anything there, okay? And I come here and on the label, this is what I want to appear on the form. Now, I have asked, are you pregnant? Now, the answer should be yes or no. It means each time you see select one, you have to go to choices and include those multiple choices, okay? So the code that we have here is W that we have chosen. You can put anything there, remember? I'll come here and put my W, and then I say the first answer I want is yes, that stands for Y. And I write my yes. The second one, this code to be holding for me is no. That stands for no, okay? So this I will save. Now, I have put this on, okay? Let's go and preview this form and see again how it looks in our Kobotoolbox system. Let's test it here and see the options that we have put and see how it looks. I'll submit to the system, and then they have previewed the form, no errors, and then we want to see the question that we have added, okay? Now, this is the question, you see? So what I want to do here, I want to create a skip logic such that the only time that this question will appear is when this sex of student is female. That is when this question will appear, because there's no need asking a man that, are you pregnant? So what I'll do here now is simple. I'll go back to my form, and then I'll come here now, and then I'll come to this other column here, and I'll put relevant. Now, one of the things you must note is that each time you want to add any formula or any item, you must come to this column and declare that you want to add that item. So we are declaring that we want to add a skip logic. It means that the question should only appear when there's a relevance, okay? And that relevance should be female, okay? Or are you pregnant? Yes or no. It should only appear when you are female. So we'll come here now. See what we are going to do. We are going to do our dollar sign, curly bracket open. We are now going to say this sex question, which is up here, okay? This question should only appear when this sex okay, curly bracket, is equals to, are you getting now? When this question of sex here is equals to what? Is equals to female. Because when you look at the question of sex here, when you look at the code we have here is sex. After select one is sex that we have put here. And then we'll come to our choices. Sex is what is holding the male and female into place is the sex code that we have put here. So we are emphasizing here that the only time this question will appear is when this sex here is equals to F. So F is a text, okay? So we are going to put it in quotes. If it was a If it was a number, we will not put it in quote, and then I save it. And then now I come here. And so after we have put our skip logic, we are going to come here now, and then we bring in that form again, and then we submit to see how it reacts, and then we now preview the form. Okay, we now preview the form, and then when we preview the form, you would see for yourself how it is a skip logic. Now there is one thing first I want you to take note on this form. Okay, you must take note now. This question has disappeared because we have put a condition that it has to only appear when we select, when the question sex is female. So you see now it appears. So if I come here and I unselect that question, you see it disappears. If I select it, you see that it appears now. And then, are you pregnant? Because we only want the female, that question to be asked to a female. Okay, so this is how you can make your form a very, very, very exciting form for use, guys. So I think we are going to end here today for part 2, and just keep following us for more.